I got pregnant by a stranger. Yes, I was on birth control. Yes, sleeping with a stranger was irresponsible. Now my daughter is 6 years old, and I am really struggling to accept the ongoing consequences of my irresponsible decision. When I found out I was pregnant, I contacted her father. He did not believe that it was his child, and I didn't expect him to, given that we barely knew each other. He immediately assumed that I was trying to interfere with his relationship with his on and off girlfriend, that he was back together with, that I had no awareness of at the time of getting pregnant. He was very hostile during our conversations that day about the pregnancy. He said he wanted nothing to do with me or our child, and that he would file harassment charges if I continued to talk to him. He also offered to pay for baby unaliving if I could prove that it was his child, which I couldn't, aside from proving how far along I was. I told him I did not want to talk again until after I could prove it was his child with a DNA test. When my daughter was born, he contacted me asking for the DNA test. We did the test and confirmed she was his child. His girlfriend, then 6 months pregnant with his second child, made him choose between her and their unborn son and our daughter. They broke up because he decided to meet our daughter. This was followed by 5 years of the girlfriend being a monster to my daughter's father, holding their son over his head, and him giving in to all of her demands. I felt incredible sympathy toward my daughter's dad for the way this woman was treating him. My daughter's father and I talked on a very regular basis. I made all kinds of sacrifices and accommodations to appease this woman's demands. Whatever she demanded from him, I would change my daughter's schedule so that he and I could keep our peace. The things he would tell me about this woman scared me. He told me he would never leave our daughter unsupervised with her, that this woman was mentally unstable, that this woman resented our daughter, that she felt like our daughter ruined her happy family, that this woman thinks my daughter's dad shows favoritism towards our daughter over their son. This woman told me directly that she has been telling my daughter's dad to hit my daughter. She thinks it's right because he hits their son, and it's only fair he disciplines them equally. I told her I don't believe in hitting children at all, and that I don't agree with what he's doing to their son. Almost a year and a half ago, he decided to be back in a relationship with this woman. He called me and told me that she is making him miserable. She feels threatened by the co-parenting relationship that I had with him. He told me she thinks there is no such thing as co-parenting. He told me that she thinks we talk too much, even though it was only about our daughter. He said she thinks if he is getting along with me, it means we're sleeping together, and it causes them to fight. He said she will never be satisfied unless she watches us fight. He said we have to stop communicating because it's causing too much interference in his relationship. Her demands have again changed due to her requirement to supervise all exchanges of my child, due to her fear that he will cheat on her with me. The court-ordered visitation agreement that we came up with to work around her prior demands is no longer what she wants. This has led to serious problems. The demands she is making now interfere with my older child's visitation agreement. I can no longer accommodate all of her demands, as I live long distance from both of my children's fathers, and I also have a spinal condition that requires me to split up my driving. She is demanding a different travel schedule that I cannot accommodate physically, and it would be unfair to both of my children. She is demanding I have my children on opposite weekend schedules. My daughter's dad has been extremely toxic towards me for no longer accommodating her demands. They continue to harass me at exchanges. He sends hostile rants via email when I refuse to make last-minute changes. We are scheduled for a pretrial next month. I'm trying to set boundaries by only addressing necessary things via email, bringing someone with me so I can stay in the car at exchanges, and planning to ask the judge for exchanges at police stations to avoid harassment in front of our daughter. I also put my daughter in counseling to help her with the drastic change. But acceptance that my daughter may forever come after this woman and may forever be exposed to the toxicity of their relationship is difficult. I don't know how to accept this. I put so much effort into keeping the peace, healthy communication, and applying spiritual principles in my co-parenting relationship with my daughter's father. I made so many accommodations to help him deal with her. Now he acts like my inflexibility is the problem and denies years of me basing my life around her demands. All of it hurts, and I feel so sorry that my daughter is experiencing this. I thought I was doing the right thing by allowing him the opportunity to have a relationship with my daughter. Now I feel like it was a mistake, especially when I watched him gaslight my daughter. He also gaslights me. I thought being nice to him was the right thing to do, being sympathetic and understanding of his situation, with being a father to 2 children 3 months apart, and now I watch a monster win. She was so mean and gets anything she wants, regardless of how it affects my daughter. I understand that I'm responsible for having no boundaries for 5 years. I'm correcting that. I knew the process of setting boundaries with toxic people would be hard, but I didn't know it would be this hard. I just need some encouragement to continue doing the right thing. I also appreciate suggestions to help with the acceptance aspect. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You need to completely cease contact with this woman, and you need to stop thinking that the father of your child isn't culpable in the situation. In fact, he created this situation. He is 100% responsible for what is happening. I don't know what is possible legally, but I think you should talk to a lawyer as soon as possible. There is no reason she should contact you, and if you have any threats of hitting your child in writing, I would think that would be reason not to have your child near her. This man should be held accountable for who he allows near his child. You don't need relationship advice. You need legal advice. Comment 2. Fundamentally, the only people you need to be concerned about are yourself and your kids. What is best for the 3 of you? You never need to tie yourself in knots for the girlfriend. Document everything and make your decisions. I don't know the laws where you live, but it might be best to aim for full custody, child support, supervised visits, and restricting the girlfriend's access. Obviously, you have no say in his relationships, but it sounds like they are giving you plenty of evidence to support asking to limit their access. Now for the update. 2 weeks after my last post, I took my daughter to a birthday party for her at a local community center. It was supposed to be fun, just chilling with other parents, eating cake, and watching the kids run around like crazy. But of course, things never go that smoothly. The father and his girlfriend showed up unannounced, which made everyone there feel super uncomfortable. Like, we all know this is a co-parenting thing, but who just crashes a birthday party? His girlfriend made a scene right away, loudly criticizing my parenting in front of a bunch of other parents. How embarrassing is that? My daughter was playing with her friends when she ran over to me, clearly upset by the whole thing. I mean, what kind of example is her dad setting? I tried to keep my cool for her sake. I calmly asked him to take his girlfriend aside so we could discuss the situation privately, but no, he refused. He insisted that his girlfriend had the right to voice her concerns, right there in front of a bunch of people. So I decided to take my daughter outside for some fresh air, hoping that would help calm things down. But while we were outside, I overheard his girlfriend making even more snide remarks about my parenting to another guest. Can you believe the nerve? I couldn't just let that go, so I confronted her. I told her that I wouldn't tolerate disrespect, especially in front of our daughter. She retaliated by threatening to take custody of my daughter, claiming that I was unfit. During the whole confrontation, he just stood there like a statue, not saying a word to defend me or anything. The birthday party ended early because of the escalating confrontation, and I could tell everyone was feeling really uncomfortable. After the party, I decided to write down everything that had happened. I knew I had to document these incidents. I also started researching local laws regarding custody and visitation. That's when I discovered that recording instances of harassment could actually be helpful for my case. So I started keeping a detailed journal of all interactions with him and his girlfriend. The following weekend, my parents hosted a family event, and guess who showed up? Yep, the father and his girlfriend. The atmosphere was super awkward. During dinner, he tried to belittle me in front of family members, bringing up past mistakes. I mean, come on, we're all supposed to be adults here. I calmly reminded him of our agreement about keeping family matters private, which he totally ignored. His girlfriend chimed in too, trying to provoke me further, but I kept my cool. After dinner, I took my daughter into the kitchen to help with dessert, wanting to distract her from the tension. Shortly after, I got a call from my daughter's school about an incident involving his girlfriend. The school reported that she had been spreading rumors about me to other parents. I couldn't believe it. So I decided to take action and met with the principal to discuss the situation. She assured me that they would address the issue and ensure a safe environment for my daughter. At the next family gathering, I approached his girlfriend and calmly asked her about the rumors. She denied it, of course, but I revealed that I had evidence from other parents. This caused quite a stir among the family members present. Finally, he stood up for me, stating that his girlfriend's actions were totally unacceptable. I used this moment to assert my boundaries, declaring that any further harassment would be dealt with legally. She stormed out, and he was left there to apologize for her behavior. After that gathering, he started communicating more respectfully regarding our co-parenting arrangements. I think he finally realized that things couldn't continue the way they were. I decided to take a break from all the drama and focus on creating positive experiences with my daughter. We really needed that. So I planned a weekend trip to the beach, hoping to strengthen our bond. It was a much-needed escape from everything. Thank you for reading. Edit. It has been 4 months since the last update. The father and his girlfriend's behavior has improved significantly. They have not engaged in any public confrontations or harassment. I continue to document interactions as a precaution, but have not needed to take further legal action. My co-parenting relationship with the father has become more manageable, allowing us to communicate effectively. My daughter and I took several trips together, including a memorable visit to a national park, which deepened our bond. Am I the idiot for exposing my girlfriend's double standards and moving out after discovering her secretive night with a male friend? For context, we've lived together for 2.5 years and have been together for 3.5 years. I've never cheated on her, but she has insecurities for 2 reasons. 1, I admitted to her that I've had a threesome with friends of mine she met long before we started dating. And 2, she once found downloaded nudes saved in my phone when I was scrolling through my photos in front of her. I had a corn addiction at the time, and nobody knew. This was embarrassing enough to make me cut it out and even tell her she has access to my devices and whatever apps she wanted to check anything, so she knows I'm not hiding anything. Both of these events happened nearly 2 years ago, but she's brought it up a couple of times during arguments and even forbade me from hanging out with the previously mentioned friends, despite the threesome being a one-time thing, and the 2 friends are dating now. Due to this, I've been hesitant to let her know when I'm hanging out with certain friends, female friends in particular, because I fear where her thoughts will go. I only have 2 female friends that I hang out with occasionally, and it's strictly platonic. One she's known about for years, but the other is someone I met about a year ago that I hadn't mentioned to her yet out of fear. Fast forward to 3 months ago, and my girlfriend tells me her male friend, Jay, won a free night stay at a nice hotel in Midtown New York City, and he's inviting friends over. I have met her friends before, and I'm pretty secure in relationships, so I wasn't worried about it. She invited me knowing I would decline as I usually do because, frankly, I'm only casually into the stuff her friends constantly gush over, anime and video games. So she leaves with Jay the next afternoon and texts me occasionally up until around 7 p.m., where she tells me good night because she likely won't be checking her phone the rest of the night. It's a little weird to me because if I did the same thing, she'd lose it. The following afternoon, she finally returns home, and through the context of her account, I realize that she was alone with Jay the entire time. I call it out, and she does her best to proceed as if it was normal. By this point, I was already feeling a little guilty over not telling her about my new friend, and proceed to tell her we've been hanging out once or twice a month for several months now, and my girlfriend surprisingly doesn't make a big deal of it. Yet, weeks passed, and about a month ago, I went out with my friend after work for drinks, and my girlfriend was fully aware of this. I can sense the passive aggression upon returning home, but proceed like normal, as she did. I assume all is well, and I can breathe easily, but then one day she makes a joke about me confusing her with my other girlfriend. This perplexed me because I was expected to be okay with her and another man drinking and sleeping in a hotel together all night, so I kind of felt like me being transparent about hanging out with a friend was just fine. It was not, and she's clearly not comfortable with me having a good time out with another woman, even if we're not romantic in the slightest. After all of this, I refuse to allow the person I'm with to control who I am friends with, especially when I'm trying my best to respect their insecurities. We live in her apartment, so enough of my life is already controlled by her. It's suffocating at times, and I'm constantly walking on eggshells with her. Moving out is not an option right now, but I am currently saving up for that. But there's a clear double standard here, because I'm 100% certain if I spent the night in a hotel with one of my female friends, she would never let me live it down and dive fully into the victim role. I know this because she straight up said she was basically cheated on when she saw the nudes in my phone. I'm not saying I wasn't wrong for that and can't control how she feels about it, but I don't think it's fair to still treat me this way when I've made efforts to show her I'm faithful since, and have otherwise given her no reason to think I'm cheating or even considering it. She's never been cheated on and has only had one relationship prior to ours, but spends hours watching shows and videos about people cheating, which I think reinforces these ideas. I have only ever brought up the hotel situation once. It felt like a low blow, so I haven't thrown it in her face like she does to me. Is this truly a case of double standards? My best friend says I'm being emotionally abused. I sense a big argument over this on the horizon because I'm still hanging out with these friends, and I have no clue what happened at that hotel. Don't hesitate to call me out if I'm overlooking my own actions. That's why I'm here. Thanks for the advice. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Your other girlfriend comment was projection. She likely has relations with her guy friend, and this is her way of taking you to task for what she assumes is just like her indiscretion. Since she claimed that she is innocent and thinks you bought her nonsense, she can stand on the moral high ground and ridicule you for having an open affair. It's the only reason she didn't break up with you immediately. She knows she cheated with Jay on you, so despite her indignation, she knows she can't give you the axe without calling what she did to you a reprehensible offense. Comment 2. 1. Never put yourself in a position to be financially dependent on another person. 2. She definitely cheated on you in New York with the guy. Check her phone for chats with him. I seriously doubt he won a trip. You were foolish for not going with her. 3. Don't let people gaslight you with double standards. People who are jealous and insecure are often this way because they are cheaters and always looking for the next high. Get your act together and save money. Now for the update. 3 days later, I was chilling at home, scrolling through social media just like any other day. I stumbled upon a post by Jay, the dude my girlfriend had spent the night at the hotel with. Like seriously, dude. He had posted a pic of a group outing at some local bar, and guess who was in the picture? Yep, my girlfriend. The caption was all about a wild night and tagged a bunch of people, including her. Just what I needed to see. I couldn't let this slide, so I had to confront her about the hotel incident and this pic. That evening, I casually asked her about her night out with Jay and the others. She seemed kinda defensive right off the bat, brushing off my questions like they were annoying flies and changing the subject. I mean, come on. I wasn't gonna let it go that easily. I pressed her for details, asking if she had spent the whole night with just Jay. Eventually, she admitted they were alone for part of the night, but insisted nothing happened. Right. The conversation escalated from there. She started accusing me of being controlling and jealous, which was rich coming from her. I pointed out the double standards in our relationship, but she didn't want to hear it. She ended up storming out, saying she was going to hang out with some friends. I was left feeling frustrated, so I went through her social media for more context. I found a bunch of pictures of her with Jay from past outings, including one from a birthday party. In the background of the birthday party photo, I noticed a familiar face, my childhood friend, Sam. The next day, I met up with Sam to talk about the situation. I casually brought up the whole night out with Jay and the birthday party. Sam seemed surprised and mentioned he hadn't seen them together for a while. I asked him if he had any idea about Jay and my girlfriend's past, and he mentioned hearing some rumors about a relationship between them. Not good. I spent hours scrolling through social media, looking for any hidden posts. That's when I stumbled upon a private group chat that included Jay and my girlfriend. The chat was filled with messages about the hotel night, and the flirty exchanges were off the charts. I took screenshots of the messages because I knew I'd need them as proof. I planned to confront her again, but this time with undeniable evidence. That weekend, we had a family dinner at her parents' place. During dinner, I brought up the topic of trust in relationships. Her family chimed in, sharing their thoughts on loyalty and respect. I was staying calm, just waiting for the right moment to pull out the screenshots. After dinner, I pulled her aside in the kitchen. I showed her the screenshots and demanded an explanation. Her face went pale when she realized she had been caught. But instead of apologizing, she accused me of invading her privacy. I calmly stated that trust was a two-way street, and I told her I wouldn't tolerate her manipulation any longer. She stormed out, leaving me standing there in the kitchen like an idiot. The next day, I packed my stuff and moved out of her apartment. I figured her family should know what was going on, so I shared the screenshots with them and explained the whole situation. Her parents confronted her, and let's just say it caused a rift in the family. Things are still complicated, and I know I have to figure out next steps, especially with her fam involved and the way things blew up. It's a lot to deal with, and I'm not sure how it'll all shake out, so I'll make sure to post an update if anything big happens. To answer a few questions, my girlfriend and Jay had never dated, but there were rumors of a fling. I felt it was important to share the screenshots with her family because they had always been supportive of me and were unaware of her controlling behavior. Moving out has been challenging, but necessary. Am I the idiot for cutting off my girlfriend's toxic father and refusing to let him ruin our wedding plans? It was about 4, maybe 5 months ago when I officially cut my girlfriend's dad out of my life. I have been with my girlfriend for nearly 9 years, in 3 months. Her dad has always given me a hard time whenever he drinks ever since we got together. At first, I thought it was just directed at me, but after spending more time around him when he's been drinking, I realized he's just a complete jerk to everyone, even to his own wife and 2 daughters. All these years, I would think, that's just how he is when drinking, and tomorrow it'll be back to normal. My first mistake was allowing myself to normalize his behavior as if it was okay. His drunken behavior never truly bothered my girlfriend and the rest of the family. Yes, they'll get mad and ignore him for a few weeks or a month, but then it'll eventually go back to before. There's an obvious repetitive cycle with him that has been going on even before I came around, based on the stories I've been told. What also doesn't help is that whenever he starts trouble with anyone, my girlfriend's mom is always coming to his rescue, even though it's always his fault. Now, to the point of why I'm writing all of this, the reason I cut her dad off 4 to 5 months ago. This man came home very drunk and decided to get verbally hurtful in my face for what felt like roughly 30 minutes in front of a small group of friends that we had over that night. My girlfriend and her little sister were also trying to get him to calm down and go to bed, since the following day it would be like it never happened. But that just made things worse. Tensions were high, and things began to escalate rapidly. I kept my composure, so not once did I engage in exchanging insulting words because, 1, that's my girlfriend's dad, so out of respect for her, and 2, the setting of all this was in their house, so I was also keeping respect for the house. As my girlfriend was trying to get him out of my face and away from me, he pushed her out of his way, and as she came back in front of him again, he proceeded to push her once more. After this, she began to yell at him, "Stop putting your hands on me," while again standing between him and me. Only this time, Instead of pushing her away, he began to move her by the throat with both hands, choking her. It took me a second to process in my head what the hell was happening because I couldn't believe it. I then quickly reacted to get his hands off her neck, which resulted in him throwing punches at me. As I was trying to dodge his punches, I ended up getting backed into a corner and actually getting hit, which caused me to defend myself by tackling him to the ground and gaining control. By this time, my girlfriend's mom woke up from bed and ran to the situation, and our friends ran inside to pull me off. My girlfriend and I left the house that night and didn't return until 2 days later, after her mom told us that she had kicked him out of the house for now. We knew we needed to get away from that house permanently, so we luckily found and bought a condo. Even with everything that went down, she still wants him in her life because she says she still has good memories of him from her growing up. About a month ago, I told her that I'm done with him. I hate what he did to us and that he should be in jail. I refuse to spend even a second in the same place with someone like him. Mind you, he's 62 years old and still acts like a teenager. Anywhere he goes, trouble will usually follow. He told my girlfriend that he would quit drinking for her, but after 2 months, her mom told her that he did it again. So to me, that proves that he cares more about himself than his own family, while literally on the verge of losing his daughter. It's sad how careless of a father he turned out to be in the end. With that being said, my girlfriend understood how I felt and knew she would no longer experience events or holidays with her dad and me together. We've been recently discussing the idea of getting engaged now that we finally have our own place. I already told her and her mom that when the time comes, which is probably soon, I'll only be asking for her mom's permission to marry my girlfriend, which they both agreed to and were fine with. And if I'm honest, I really don't want her dad at the wedding. The man is dead to me, and I'll never forgive him. I haven't brought this topic up yet to her about not wanting her dad at the wedding in the future. Is this too much of a request? Should he still be allowed, given our history, or should I stay firm in my decision? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It's not too much of a request, but this could be a major issue given that it's her father. You can certainly decide you don't want him there, but what if she does want him there? I think the more reasonable approach is for both of you to have a discussion about this and your feelings around having her father in your lives in general. He's clearly a danger to those around him, but you can't make this decision unilaterally, unfortunately. Comment 2. The only person who can ban your father-in-law from the wedding is your girlfriend. Otherwise, she will be upset with you if you try to make the decision or pressure her. Your father-in-law will get drunk and ruin the wedding. Just keep reminding your girlfriend until she tells you that she doesn't want him to go. At that point, you can step in and let her know that you will do whatever she needs you to do to support her, including telling him if necessary. Now, for the update. 2 weeks after moving into the condo, we planned a small dinner with my girlfriend's mom at our new place. Just to celebrate our first month in the condo, really. I thought it would be a good way to get her mom over and in the spirit of things. Of course, her mom was super excited about us getting a place together, being all happy at the idea of us living together or whatever. So anyway, I decided to make a homemade pasta dish. I figured I'd try to impress her mom with my cooking skills. My girlfriend set the table and arranged a bouquet of flowers for the dining table, making everything look nice and fancy. I was feeling pretty confident about the whole thing. The dinner started well, with laughter and casual conversation. Her mom was asking about our jobs, and we were just making small talk. Then her mom asked about our plans for the future, which I could kind of tell was her hinting at marriage. I mean, we've been together for 3 years, so it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. My girlfriend just smiled and said that we were really happy where we were right now, which was kind of true. I mean, we were just getting settled into the condo, so we hadn't really thought about anything else, you know? But then, during dinner, my girlfriend got a call from her dad. She ignored it and just kept talking to her mom. I noticed her mom looking a bit uncomfortable after hearing the call, though. Like, you could tell she wanted to say something, but she didn't. After dinner, my girlfriend stepped outside to take the call while her mom and I cleaned up. After a few minutes, her mom mentioned how she wished her daughter could have a better relationship with her dad. I just stayed quiet, knowing how much of a jerk he could be. I mean, the last time we saw him, he tried to choke my girlfriend, and I had to jump in and tackle him. So yeah, I wasn't exactly looking to have a deep talk about family stuff with her mom. When my girlfriend came back inside, she looked upset and said her dad wanted to talk to her. Apparently, he was calling her to say he wanted to see her. My girlfriend decided to meet her dad at a nearby diner the next day, which I wasn't super thrilled about. You know, just the thought of her being around him after everything that had happened made me uneasy. The next day, while I was at work, I got a text from my girlfriend saying that the meeting didn't go well. She said her dad was drinking and brought up the incident from months ago. You know, the one where he choked her and I had to jump in? Yeah, that one. He made comments about me that really upset her, and she left the diner feeling frustrated and angry. So we decided to have a serious talk about setting boundaries with her dad after she got home. She suggested that we could try to mend things with him, but I was still pretty firm about my stance. I didn't want anything to do with him after what went down. A week later, I got an unexpected call from her mom. She shared that her dad had been drinking heavily and was causing problems at home. Her mom mentioned she might need help handling the situation with her husband, which made me feel bad for her. I mean, I know how much her mom loves him, but after everything, I just couldn't understand why she would want to stay with someone like that. I offered to come over and talk, wanting to support her mom. At her mom's house, the atmosphere was tense. Like, you could feel the heavy air. Her dad was there, visibly drunk. I confronted the dad about his behavior, which escalated quickly. He became aggressive, shouting and pointing fingers. My girlfriend stood between us, trying to calm things down. I felt a surge of anger, but I controlled myself, focusing on my girlfriend. We decided to leave, and I assured her it was okay to distance ourselves from her dad. That weekend, we spent time discussing our future wedding plans without her dad. I ended up proposing to my girlfriend in our condo, and she said yes. We celebrated the engagement with her mom, but kept her dad out of the plans. A few days later, my girlfriend received a message from her dad expressing regret and wanting to meet. We agreed to discuss it, but were firm about our boundaries. We met her dad at a coffee shop, but the conversation was tense and uncomfortable. He apologized, but then shifted blame onto me, which caused a huge fight. My girlfriend decided to stand up for herself, asserting that we wouldn't revisit the past. We decided to focus on planning our wedding without her dad's involvement. Thank you for reading. Edit. We eventually decided to invite her dad to the wedding, hoping for a peaceful resolution. He attended the wedding sober and apologized, which made the day even more special for my wife. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.